Hey y'all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And today I'm super excited because I'm going to be sharing my review of the new LA Girl Cosmetics Mainstage palette, along with 2 looks that I created using this palette. Now, if you have not seen this palette, this is a rather new release from LA Girl Cosmetics called Mainstage, and I believe it's part of their Desert Dream eyeshadow collection. But the inside of the palette looks like this, and as soon as I saw it pop up on Ulta's website, I was like, oh my goodness, LA Girl has finally done a very colorful palette. I've got to give it a try, so I picked it up right away. It did arrive a little bit busted. I'll go ahead and show you guys this shadow, and this shadow were completely shattered. I was able to press them back down, obviously, and they work just fine, but I don't know if they might be a little bit more crumbly than they should be because they were shattered, if that makes sense. But yeah, I am going to be doing this video a little bit different than I feel like I typically do my review videos, because they tend to be either in a palette palooza. I either do a first impression with the palette and just give you guys that first time me trying it on, or I do a 3 looks one palette. But I wanted to change it up and just do something a little bit different because I knew I couldn't put a video up right away and do a first impressions. Levi is in the room with me. He's gonna be making a little noise down here. I knew I didn't have time in my schedule to put up a first impression, so I was like, you know, I could film a first impressions and put it up next week after I've fully used the palette, or I could just wait and give you guys 2 looks and a review in a video and do it kind of like I would do my first impressions videos. Basically, the structure of this video is after I give my little intro here, we're going to do my Instagram shout out, and then we're going to jump right into the tutorial of this eye look right here. And this is my 3rd eye look using this Mainstage palette from LA Girl. And then after the tutorial, I'll come back here, show you guys a final look, and give you guys my overall full review of this palette. And then at the end, we will segue into the 2nd and final look that I'm going to share. And it's just going to be almost like an Instagram IGTV type of video where it's going to be a longer form, but just music is playing. There's going to be no voiceover going on, and that's how I will end the video. So that is going to be the structure of this 2 looks, 1 palette plus review video, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. So with that said, why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it, and let's go ahead and do the tutorial, and I'll be able to show you guys how I got this look and give you guys a little bit of my thoughts and feelings on the mattes and the shimmers in the Mainstage palette by LA Girl Cosmetics. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and do my Instagram shout out for today. And for today, I'm going to be highlighting this commenter from my most recent Instagram post. They left this really sweet comment and it just stood out to me, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to comment on my posts over on Instagram. I really do appreciate it. And you are my Instagram shout out for today. Alright, so I used my Lorac Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primer and the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I have the super size, but the Conceal and Define concealer, and that's what I use to prime my eyes. And now for the look, I do want to let you guys know that I'm going to be inspired by a specific look I saw on Instagram. I just can't get out of my head. I know I'm going to butcher her name, but I think you pronounce it Soroka Iryna, I believe. I will leave her link down below, of course, but this is a look she shared not too long ago, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I can zoom it. Oh, I can. I just love the purple on the outside. Oops, there's blue on the middle, and then a bunch of green on the inner corner, and those 3 color combinations are all in here. And that green on her lid, the shimmer, is so beautiful, and there's a beautiful green shimmer, so I'm going to kind of keep the same color story, going from green to blue to purple. We have a really dark and smoky outer corner, and then green on the lid. So inspired by her, I will leave it linked down below. So for the first look, I think I'm going to do this a little bit backwards than what I have been doing. I usually start with the crease and then I do the outer corner and then the lid, but I want to start with the outer corner today, and then I'm going to work in the lid, mainly because I want to kind of cover this. Like, I want the depth that this brown will give me, but I want to cover it with the blue and the purple and whatnot to make it seem more of just like a dark blue or a dark purple, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with this, pop it on the outer corner, and then we'll layer other stuff on top. Okay, so now that I have laid that groundwork, and it went on pretty well. This shade isn't my favorite. I mean, it is a brown, but also just, I don't know, just doesn't seem to be sticking the best. I feel like I see little splotches here and there, or like spots where it's not wanting to stick to, but it'll be fine for the purposes of this video, because now I'm going to clean off that same brush and go into this purple shade here, which they all have names, but I'm just going to be pointing because they're not on the palette. They're on this little thing that I'm going to throw away. These shadows are very soft, but not like intensely pigmented, if that makes sense. Like when you touch them and feel them, they feel so soft, like buttery soft, like Menagerie and Nomad, that kind of very soft feeling. But as you guys are going to see later in the swatches, and even like now as I'm using them, they're not like insanely pigmented, which I think is not a, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Maybe it's a little bit of a bad thing for me and my preferences, but I think it's good if, you know, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to go super saturated in pigment all the time, or, you know, you're just starting out with color. It's probably better in that respect. But anyway, I'm just layering the purple over it and bleeding it upward to kind of turn that a little bit more purpley. I think that's doing what I wanted to do. Okay, I like how this is looking. I think it's fairly even. I might add a little bit of that more reddish tone color to kind of maybe bring out the purple a little bit. But we're gonna leave it here for now. Now I wanna go into the blue, which I'm gonna take this little brush and I'm gonna go into this blue right here, and I'm gonna pop that on the middle there. Kind of like that. This blue is really nice. I think I've used it in every look. Maybe not the first one, I can't remember. This is the third look that I've done with this palette, but it's a really nice blue. And then I'm gonna also take this and kind of bleed it downward. Once again, to help, not that I'm wanting to cover that brown, but I want to turn that brown a little bit more just colorful instead of just brown. Okay, and then now I want to go into, should I go into the green? I feel like I did that on the inner corner yesterday, which is I think the look I'm gonna use for my second look. And looking at this, it almost looks more of like a pastel green. So I initially thought I was going to go in with this on the inner corner, but I think I'm going to go in with this. Let's see what this does. It's more of like a pastel green blue. It's got green in there. It's like a mint green. And I think this will also help the green shimmer that I'm going to put on the lid pop as well, because it's going to, you know, stand out from this more minty green. Whereas the other green, while I do love that lime greenness, I feel like it will blend into the lime greenness of the shimmer. So pretty, like that took no work. I feel like it just was like super easy to build up. Like working with these, I'm always like super impressed. I feel like when I try to blend them together or blend like two, you know, darker shade into a lighter shade, is a little problematic, but like blending them just next to each other, if you're someone who only uses, you know, one in a certain area, you're not looking to add depth and get an ombre like I like to do, I feel like they perform so nice. Okay, I'm going to take a very tiny brush because I want to be careful. I don't have much real estate up here, but I'm going to take that pink and I'm going to put that above the purple right out here, like I said, to maybe make some of that purple pop more than the blue in that shade I put out there, if that makes sense at all. But we're just going to put that right out here. Kind of like that. I think that is what I'm looking for. And I feel like, especially from far away, it's going to give this outer corner more of a purple look to it than a blue, which is what I just didn't want it to look like just a green and blue. I want that transition from green, blue to purple to kind of pop. Okay, I'm just going to tap a little bit more purple over here. And then I'm going to have to take a little break because Mr. Levi is waking up. I will just have to finish the rest of this eye look with a little companion. Real quick before I go, this is kind of showing you what I mean by them layering well together and giving me that ombre. I feel like there's just this line here that I'm not feeling, like maybe it's just all in my head, but I just feel like it's not blending out even though I'm taking more time. I feel like I can still see that line where the purple stopped and where I put the more pinky purple shade. Again, could be all in my head, but I'm just not, I'm not 100% happy with this blend, so I feel like, you know, that's something to note. It's not bad, but when I'm up there and looking at it, I can see the blue, the green, the, you know, dark purple down here, and then the pink, whereas I want it to kind of just mesh seamlessly together, and it just doesn't do that as well as I'd like. Again, and not saying that that's bad, it's just that's the critique when I have to nitpick a palette and just share with you guys what's holding me back from absolutely loving it. I feel like that's the biggest thing for me. So anyway, I'm going to take a pause and go feed a little man. Fallout is like none. I really can't see any fallout. I think I just dusted away one speck here and then not really any here. So here's what we were looking like. I like how it looks. Please don't take any of my critiques as like saying this palette is terrible. I just want to be as upfront with my critiques as I can, because as a whole I love this palette, but it does have a couple, not issues, but just a couple things that I think are important to know. If you are going, you know, wanting a very thorough review, I feel like it's important to know. So anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Levi is on the floor with me. Let's jump right in. I'm gonna go with this. I did use glitter glue. I already put that down, so now I'm just gonna jump right in and put on the shimmer because we are ready for the shimmer. And I think in the picture she had mostly just that green all over her lid, but I think it might stick a little bit of one of these shades to kind of blend into here and also help it not look, you know, like a brown. I really don't want it to look brown on my outer corner, so I might do that. But for now, yeah, we're gonna jump right into there and put that all over my lid. This shade is so pretty. I cannot wait to show you guys. I do have to tap it off because it is one of those very, well, you know, it could be because this shade did arrive broken, but it is a very crumbly shimmer. So I'm gonna go with packing motions, and once it's down, then I'll smooth it out. Oof, so beautiful. And I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but there is a lot of sparkle. Like the sparkles, the shimmers in these, I feel like is where this shimmer stands out, or this palette stands out so much, because the shimmers really are spectacular to look at. They're just so beautiful. And like that as a like an intense metallic foiled green is beautiful, but when you turn in person, like again, I don't know if this is coming across on camera, but in person, every time I turn my head, I just see all this sparkle happening, which I think is so beautiful. So, okay, now I'm gonna go into that shade right there and put that just a teensy bit from here to like here. I don't want it too much, but I think it'll be a good transitional shimmer. Might not even be noticeable in the final look, but we're gonna do it. I like that. I think that's looking nice. Come here. You wanna say hi? Say hello! Just getting into all the things. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up with the lower lash line. That did get a little bit messy. I mean, that green, you have to be very careful because it is very messy and crumbly. But ooh, I like how that is looking up there. Let's do the lower lash line. And I think what I want to do is use this brown, but then smoke it out really heavily with this green. I feel like that'll tie it all together, and I get to use this green because it is really pretty. I really like that green. And yeah, that's my plan. Let's do it. Okay, I like that. Trying to make sure I stay in frame because whenever I look down I feel like I drop out of frame a lot. But yeah, that is what we look like. I'm just going to pop a little bit more right on here because I do want it to stay nice and dark. I think the inspiration picture had it a lot darker, but I tend to not want to go too dark on my lower lashes. So we're going to do that, and then I'll put a wing, maybe? Yeah, I'll put a wing today. Anyway, let's move on to that inner corner. Now, I don't really know what to do. I can't remember. I think she just has it very neon in her inner corner, but we're gonna do, obviously, one of these on the bottoms. These two are very transparent. Like, there really is no color. They're just intensely sparkly. You're gonna see in the swatches later, but they're beautiful. They're so sparkly. They're great eye toppers. Like, if you want to top it on top of something, I think the look the number 2 look I'm gonna show you, I do that, and I think it's beautiful. Look how beautiful those are. I think I'm just gonna go with that pink, and we'll get it very sparkly. Again, the pink isn't gonna give a lot of color, but it will definitely give sparkles. Look how sparkly. I think the sparkle comes across on camera. If it doesn't look very impressive, it's just because the sparkle's not coming across on camera, but I think it's very, very pretty. So we are definitely at the look. He is now moved on to my palettes, which is not good. I'm gonna take a break and go ahead and do my wings, do my mascara, put something in my waterline, and yeah, this is going to be the tutorial. All 3 of my kids are awake now, so Mama's gotta go, but I will be back and I will show you guys the final look very soon. Alright, so this is the completed look. I really like how it turned out. If you're curious, my lipstick is from Give Me Glow. This is the lip gloss in Darla. And then also for my waterline, I went ahead and used another product from LA Girl. I just picked up their Pastel Dream eyeliner, and this is in the shade Magic Mint. Levi is playing with a bag of baby wipes, so I apologize for the noise, but he's happy. So I'm just going to try to talk around it. Anyway, so yeah, this is the completed look, and per usual, I'm going to stick up close up so you guys can really see the look and see how it turned out. I really like how it turned out, and like overall, if I had to rate this palette, I feel like it's a very good palette, especially considering the price tag and the availability of it. I just feel like it's a lot easier to get a hold of. Now, that's not to say this palette is like so outstanding, the quality. I'm just so impressed. The blendability is amazing. I definitely don't think it stands up to par with like other of my favorite indie eyeshadow palettes, but as a drugstore colorful eyeshadow palette, I'm definitely impressed. And this is definitely the best colorful eyeshadow palette I've tried from the drugstore in a long time, if not ever. Like, I'm very impressed with how colorful it is and how blendable it is. However, as you guys heard from me during the tutorial and, you know, sharing with you guys my thoughts and feelings, there are a couple little issues when it comes to blending shades together, specifically the mattes. I feel like as a whole, the shimmers I was very impressed with. And also wear time for that shimmers, I should say, I definitely do still need to use a glitter glue to make them last all day, but with the glitter glue, they're great. If I don't use a glitter glue, especially with the more foiled, softer shadows, it was like up to my brow bone, so. Besides that, they are great though. I'm someone who always uses a glitter primer. I use a NYX one pretty much every day, so it doesn't bother me, but I do want to throw that out there. If you're someone who doesn't use one, I think you might benefit, especially if you have hooded or oily eyelids, which I have a little hooded eyelid on this side, and then my eyelids are pretty oily. So overall, it's very good, and especially considering the price. I got this on sale, and I used a $3.50 off coupon from Ulta, so it was very affordable, and knowing how little I paid for this and seeing what a gorgeous color story it is, I can't help but recommend it, as long as I make sure I also let you guys know the little issues that I did have with blending the mattes. And again, they're just such nitpicks. Please keep that in mind. I do want to go ahead and get into the swatches, and I'm going to put it over the screen here as we talk. I feel like swatch-wise, this palette, like the shimmers especially, just swatch so beautifully. Those two that I said are more iridescent toppers are definitely a lot more, you know, sheer and whatnot, but they're still super sparkly. And everything else, you know, all the other shimmers in this palette were just so beautiful. They swatch so well. And I feel like with this formula, you definitely want to use a little and really work on blending it in and smoothing it out over the eyelid. I feel like if you really went on with a lot of this, you're going to get like a lot of flake and falling out on your eyes. But the way I use it, you know, trying to make sure I smooth it out and blend it out and not put too much on, I didn't see any fallout on my face throughout the day. The mattes, I did notice they blended a little bit bad. You're going to see me, the first row of mattes, when I swatch them, I go back and re-swatch them just because they're very smooth. Like, they feel great, but they also, because of they're so slick and smooth, they're almost a little bit hard to pick up. So that's why I did go ahead and go back in and try to pick them up some more. And even then, they don't, you know, they don't swatch that impressive. I think they're decent. They're nice, but if there was a row that was weak, it's definitely that, you know, that one row of full mattes. Overall, I'm very pleased with this palette. I feel like it's a really nice palette, and I do want to go ahead and compare this palette to the Worldie palette. Let me go ahead and hold this up. Levi wanted a snack, so I'm going to do this one-handed, but this palette right here, I had someone in my DMs ask me to compare the two because they said it reminded them of it. So I'm going to go ahead and stick over the screen right now. I swatched all the shades that I felt like were similar between the two palettes, and I feel like overall, when you first look at it, it's like, oh yeah, those are very like dupeable, kind of the same type of palette, but when you actually look at the palette and go like, okay, which shadows are similar? There weren't that many. But if you're someone who likes the vibe and the feel and the looks that you can get from the Worldie palette, I feel like the LA Girl Mainstage would be a great option to get and pick up and see if you enjoy that color story. It's definitely more condensed, but as a whole, like the vibes, if you're going for the colorful greens and blues, I think you can kind of get the vibe of the Worldie palette within the Mainstage palette. Do you want to say hi? Say hello! Hello, I'm destroying Mommy's floor. It's so fun. I have had my snack. I'm ready to go destroy more palettes. Off we go. Off we go. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be my review. So at this point, this is where I'm going to close out, and I would love to hear what you guys think about this palette. Let me know if you picked it up, if you plan to pick it up, whatnot. I'm very, very curious. We're going to end the video, as I said, sharing with you guys a second look. So I want to be able to share more than one look in these type of reviews, just to give you a more thorough feel for the palette. That is coming to you guys very soon, but if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to share this video if you know someone who is eyeing the Mainstage palette, and maybe this will help them make a decision. And yeah, if if you're someone who enjoys watching tutorials and getting inspired by other people's looks, check me out over on Instagram. I post a lot of pictures and also tutorials and reels showing you guys the looks that I do throughout the month. And if you ever have a special request on a palette you want to see me do a tutorial with and I have it in my collection, feel free to leave me a comment or send me a DM and ask me, and I will definitely try to use that palette and give you guys a tutorial over there on my Instagram page, which I don't even know if I said, but I'm LadyKD92 over there. But yeah, with all that said, that's gonna do it for me. Let's go ahead and transition over, and I hope you guys enjoy the second look using the LA Girl Cosmetics Mainstage palette.